to develop socially. And apart from social development, we also said psychologically a person is supposed to develop. So together, this is forming what is known as a biopsychosocial perspective. So those that are encouraging this model, they believe that one aspect influences the other. If a person is developing biologically, socially they will also be able to develop. Cognitively, they will also be able to develop. And we looked at how these influence one another, and we also looked at the summary of developmental processes, whereby we said when we are talking about biological development, we are talking about changes in an individual's physical appearance. We also said that the cognitive development involves a change in thought, intelligence, as well as language. The social emotional part involves a change in relationships with other people, and again changes in emotions and changes in personality. So these are interwoven. They constantly influence each other. And when we were finishing, I said we have talked about the biopsychosocial perspective of growth, but then there are issues that emerge in developmental psychology. One of the issues that emerges, or two of the issues that emerge in developmental psychology is issues of continuity versus discontinuity. Continuity versus discontinuity. But apart from that, there's also nature versus nurture. Nature versus nurture. That's another issue that is highly debated in as far as developmental psychology is concerned. So we are going to look at continuity versus discontinuity first. So this debate of continuity versus discontinuity, the question lies whether development is evenly or solely continuous, They say that development is solely and evenly continuous, whereas discontinuity believes to say development is not evenly continuous, but it is marked by age-specific periods. Age is marked by specific periods. Whereas the ones that debate to say development is continuous, they believe that development is evenly continuous. There is nothing distinct at every developmental stage, but it is simply continuous. Whilst the discontinuity says that it is marked by age-specific periods, whereby you can actually see to say this is one stage and then you develop to another stage. Developmentalists who advocate continuous model describe development as a relatively smooth process, whereby there is nothing that is marking a person's life. So it is a smooth process without any sharp as well as distinct stages through which individuals must pass. You are born, you grow up. As you're growing up, there's nothing that one can point out to say stage number one. These are the activities, these are the characteristics of stage number one, and then stage number two, and so on and so forth. They believe that it's a smooth transition from point A to point B. There is nothing distinct in between them. Whilst the ones that are supporting the discontinuity model, they describe development as stages of discrete stages, each of which stage is characterized by at least a task that an individual must accomplish before progressing to the next stage. So these guys, they believe that if you are in a certain stage, for you to be said that you have grown, there are some other tasks that you should be able to accomplish. So you move from one stage to another by your ability to perform some tasks, or you should develop some characteristics for you to graduate into the next level. So, for example, last semester we were talking about how children develop. So there was a period where children, they are more interested in they explore their world using senses. So it's touch. When they touch something, immediately it goes to the mouth. What is happening? They are touching, they are sucking it. So that's characteristics of a certain age or a certain space in age during a child's growth. But then when they move from there, you discover that they also start doing other things. So this is now what these guys are saying. The ones that are promoting this model, discontinuity, they should be something that you can actually say, this stage, kids do A, B, C, D. So when a kid is about 6 or 4 months to 9 months, or 2 months to 6 months, it's feeling, they are touching, but they also, when they pick anything, it goes straight to the mouth. What is that? That's a sensory stage. So that's a characteristic whereby they want to explore the world using their senses. So if you look at how Sigmund describes it, it's also different. We are going to look at that at another stage. But the point is, these two models are different. One believes that it has to go smooth. The second one believes that it is supposed to be marked by at least something different that you can actually tell. This child was doing this and now they have stopped doing that, they are doing this. These are developmental stages. So when you look at Sigmund, he has his own models, or he has got his stage model of psychosocial development. Psychosexual, not psychosocial, but psychosexual development. Whereby he says that children moves from oral, the mouth, then from oral stage they move to anal stage, from anal stage they move to phallic, from phallic, and then there is latest stages. What does this mean? We are going to talk about this in details, but then when Sigmund is talking about the oral stage, this is the stage I'm talking about. They pick something, immediately it goes to the mouth. How about the anal stage? Sigmund describes that children find satisfaction when they are using the toilet. That's the anal stage. And so on and so forth. What is this? These are developmental stages that have been marked by distinct characteristics. So that falls within discontinuity, whereby they are saying development is marked by age-specific periods. Whilst these ones, they say no, it's an evenly continuous thing. You can't really point out to say this stage, this is what they are able to do, this stage they are able to do this, and therefore development is taking place. Okay. The people that support discontinuous model, they describe development as a series of discrete stages, each of which is characterized by at least one task that an individual must accomplish before progressing to the next stage. Before you progress to the next stage, there is a task that you're supposed to perform within that period. But again, they also suggested that individuals go through critical periods, which are times of increase and favored sensitivity. Before you move on to the next stage, you are supposed to accomplish one task. So, the proponents of discontinuity, they also say that individuals go through a critical period for language acquisition, meaning to say that most adults find it difficult or impossible to master a second language during their adult years, whilst young children raised in bilingual homes normally learn second languages easier during childhood. What are these? This is discontinuity. Discontinuity. Because we are saying, for people to say you are growing up, you're supposed to accomplish something. So one thing that you can accomplish as you're young, for people to say that this one is growing, is language acquisition. How do they justify that? They justify that to say, at a later stage, at a later age, it's very hard for a person to acquire language. But language acquisition is made easier when you are young. Therefore, language acquisition is a character. It is a distinct character that can mark growth during childhood. I don't know if you're getting this. Okay, so language acquisition is going to be that distinct mark or benchmark that people are going to say, okay, he is growing up. Why? He is able to acquire language. But then, the justification is, at a later stage, when you have already grown, you cannot acquire language as easy as that. They also continue to argue over the roles that biology and the environment plays in development, because it is said that biology as well as the environment plays a part in a person's development. So this is about continuity versus continuity. I said there are two issues. There's continuity and discontinuity. It's a debate on its own. Then there is nature versus nurture. This is also another debate in as far as developmental psychology is concerned. So we have looked at the conflict that rises in the continuity and discontinuity. Let us look at the nature versus nurture. What is this all about? When people say biology contributes to a person's development, but at the same time we are also saying the environment is also part of that which contributes to a